Today we're going to be making a sun catcher that looks like a fish. So it's going to, when you put it up against the window, the light will shine through the tissue paper. On the front it looks like this, and on the back it's going to look kind of ugly and sloppy, but that's okay because we're only going to see the front. So we're going to cut out holes into this paper and we are going to turn it into a sun catcher. What I need you to do right now is turn your paper landscape, going from side to side. This is horizontal, so this is vertical, going up and down like a portrait. This is landscape, going from side to side. Then I'm going to take my top two corners and pull them down to my bottom two corners and fold them like a hot dog. Okay, now I have a long, skinny piece of paper. I'm going to be using a Sharpie to draw so that it'll show up better and you can see it easier. But you can use a pencil or a crayon or whatever you have to draw with. We're going to start off with the lips. So remember, everything that we draw will be doubled. So I'm going to start off with this curve here of the lips. So I'm going to kind of come out a little bit and then back. So it's just kind of like a C shape almost. Then I'm going to come with a curvy line that comes down and it's really going to widen out. It's important that we make this fish large. I'm going to leave a little room for the tail, but I'm aiming to get back to about right here. So I'm going to come down pretty far, and then right at the end I'm going to really curve up. So you can see how it's really rounded off here and then almost going straight up here. Now at the tail part, I'm going to come off here and then I'm going to kind of make a curvy line and I'm going to come down. Then I'm going to come straight up. So I've made a fish the entire length of this paper. Now I'm going to come down to make an extra little fin, and then it comes to a point and then back up. I'm going to also make an extra fin here that kind of looks like a triangle, so it's a wavy triangle there. Now I'm going to make the fin that's in the middle. So I'm going to come straight down, then I'm going to kind of curve down here and then come to a point, and I'm going to just make it a wavy line up. So this is the middle fin. I'm also just going to put a little design here and a little design here and even one there. Now I'm going to cut just around the outside line. So I'm not going to cut the belly of the fish here. I'm going to cut all the way on the outside. And everywhere I cut, it's going to double it. So this will turn into a whole fish. So right here, I'm not cutting this line. I'm cutting the outside line. I'm going around the outside. That's very important. I can always turn the entire piece of paper to make it easier to cut. And if I need to, I can come back at different angles. So like right here, it's going to be difficult to completely come up here. So I'm just going to start back here and I'm going to cut along this line. And I don't want to cut off the tail, so I want to make sure that I don't cut this line here. So I don't want to cut off the tail, but I do want to cut off the last little part there where the tail ends. Okay, now mine looks like this. If I open it up, you can see that it starts to look like a fish, but let's cut out this inside fin here. So I'm going to cut down and around, just like so. Now I have an inside fin. I'm going to cut out these little designs that are like diamonds. or triangles. If you wanted to add more designs here, we could, but we're also going to come back and we're going to add stripes coming up the fish. I'm going to show you how to do that later. So it'll have stripes that kind of look like this one. Okay, I can open it up now. Just like this. What we're going to do now is we're going to be gluing down tissue paper to these holes. So my first hole's pretty large, so I'm going to put down a large sheet of paper, and we're going to trim this to where it'll fit on the page. So if I look at it like this, I can see that that looks kind of like that. Just like this. Okay, now it fits. It can overlap quite a bit, and that's okay, as long as we're not covering up any of these holes. So now I'm going to open up my glue, and I'm going to put dots. So my glue is stuck, so I need to peel off the top of my glue, screw it all the way down, screw it all the way open. I'm putting just a little bit of glue. It does not take a lot of glue to glue down tissue paper. Tissue paper is very light, and it does not take a lot of glue. Then I'm going to glue down my tissue paper over that hole. There we go. I could choose a different color for the little bitty diamonds. And I want to make sure it fits before I go to put glue down. And it does. Pick it up, set it right down on the glue. It's okay that it overlaps it. The back part of this is going to look ugly, as you can see here. It's going to look ugly, but as we flip it over, it'll look nice and neat. So let's get this one here. And if I wanted to do both of them the same color, I could put one big piece over both of them. That is okay. But here I'm going to... I should have measured it first, but I can kind of tell that this piece is going to fit just right. Now I need a piece back here. Let's see what colors I have. I could put this pink color here. Just need to trim it up. And that will fit nicely right there. Okay, once I'm done with this, I'll flip it over. And look, it looks nice on this side. What we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to add stripes. So now what I'm going to do is here on the outside, I'm going to add some stripes that come down it. And I can draw on top of this tissue paper as long as I'm not going to that hole. So kind of look through the tissue paper and make sure that you're not drawing over the hole. And even if you want kind of a squiggly line, you could do a squiggly line here. You can even make something that looks like this here. If you wanted to have some different shapes in there, you can add different shapes. They don't have to necessarily be stripes. But, however, once I got these stripes done, I need to draw a line that makes a space for each one of these stripes, because we're not going to cut off that line that I just drew. Let me show you what I mean. So here I'm going to cut up, but then I'm going to cut across, not cutting off this little flap here, because we're going to glue that flap back shut. Let me show you on the other fish. So you can see how I left a flap there, and then I glued it back shut when I glued the tissue paper on. So on this one here, I will cut in, then I'll cut up, and then I'll cut across, and then I'm going to cut up again, leaving that flap. but cutting out this triangle. So you can see how I left that flap. Then I'll just cut here, and I'll cut back down, cut across, cut up, cut across that flap, and then cut out the triangle part without cutting out that flap. I'm cutting out some tissue paper here. That's okay because it's already glued down everywhere else. Then I'll just cut down across this line, back up that flap. Also, I don't want to cut too much out of this fish without gluing some back down. So I want to come and glue it back down at this point before I cut out any more. So I'm going to head and start gluing on some tissue paper here. And that's going to glue that flap back down. And I see that this will fit. Even though it's way too big, it's not covering anything else up. And so that's okay. And then I'll just glue down each one of those. I'll have another video of how we finish this fish.